I'm Claire Bennett, a combat medic who was abandoned by the man I loved most while carrying 3 little lives inside me. He not only refused to take responsibility, but delivered a cold threat. Sign this agreement, take care of everything, and then we'll talk when the timing is right. But what he didn't know was that, in the middle of an Arctic blizzard, I delivered all 3 of my babies by myself in a collapsing shack, saving 4 lives, mine and my daughter's, before the world ever heard our story. Before I share my full story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit the like button and subscribe if you've ever overcome hardship for your family. Trust me, you'll want to hear what happened next. The morning sun blazed across Fort Sam Houston as I adjusted my dress uniform one last time. My hands trembled slightly, not from nerves, but from pure adrenaline. Today, I'd graduate from officer medical training and receive a commendation for saving Private Rodriguez during a field exercise gone wrong. "Lieutenant Bennett!" My commanding officer's voice boomed across the parade ground. "Front and center!" As I marched forward, my parents beamed from the crowd. Mom clutched Dad's arm, tears streaming down her face. 25 years of their sacrifices, double shifts at the hospital, missed vacations, everything, had led to this moment. The medal felt heavier than it should have as Colonel Hayes pinned it to my chest. "Outstanding work, Lieutenant. The Army needs more officers like you." Later, at the reception, I was refilling my punch when a voice behind me said, "So you're the hero everyone's talking about." I turned to find a man in an expensive suit, looking completely out of place among the military families. Tall, confident, with eyes that seemed to see right through me. "Ethan Calloway." He extended his hand. "My company sponsored today's ceremony." Calloway, even I knew that name. Texas oil royalty. "Nice to meet you. I'm just doing my job." "I was at the community health clinic last month when you volunteered. The way you handled that scared kid with the broken arm." He smiled. "Most people with your background would have been too good for volunteer work." "My background?" I raised an eyebrow. "Midwest, working-class family, full scholarship. I do my homework." He grinned at my surprise. "I'm not some trust fund brat, despite appearances. I actually run our healthcare initiatives." We talked for 2 hours. He was different. Sharp, funny, genuinely interested in military medicine logistics. When he asked for my number, I surprised myself by giving it. 8 months flew by in a blur of stolen weekends and late-night calls. Ethan would fly me to New York in his private jet just for dinner, then have me back in time for morning PT. He'd debate healthcare policy with the passion of someone who truly cared. I fell hard. "I love that you're changing the world in your own way," he'd say, tracing the scar on my hand from field training. "Most women I know just want to spend money." When the pregnancy test showed positive, I stared at those 2 lines for a full minute. We'd been careful, but my mind raced. This would change everything. My career trajectory, our relationship timeline. But as the shock faded, warmth spread through my chest. A baby. Our baby. I planned it perfectly. His favorite restaurant, after the board meeting where he'd officially joined Callaway Industries leadership. I'd even bought a tiny Army onesie as a cute way to tell him. But the moment he sat down, I knew something was wrong. His easy smile was gone, replaced by something harder. "The board meeting went well?" I ventured. "Better than expected. I'm now the youngest board member in company history." He signaled the waiter for whiskey. "Which means everything changes, Claire. The next 5 years are crucial." My hand instinctively moved to my stomach. "Ethan, I have something. I need to be clear about something." He leaned forward, all business now. "I care about you, but my position requires certain considerations. Any personal complications could derail everything we've built." "Personal complications?" "Marriage, children, that's 10 years away minimum. The board made that crystal clear. I hope you understand." The onesie in my purse felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "And if something already happened?" His eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "I'm pregnant." The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Ethan's whiskey sat untouched as he stared at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Cold calculation. "How far along?" 6 weeks. He pulled out his phone, typed rapidly, then set it aside. I can have my personal physician handle this discreetly. Best facility in Houston. You'll be back on duty within days. Handle this? My voice came out steadier than I felt. You mean our child? Don't be naive, Claire. You know what this is. He reached into his jacket, producing a leather folder. $2 million. Sign the NDA, take care of the situation, and we can revisit our relationship when the timing's better. I stared at the document. Non-disclosure agreement, termination clause, my name already typed in. You had this ready? Before dinner? I protect my interests. You should protect yours. He slid the folder closer. Think about your career. Single mother in the military, they'll sideline you permanently. Get out. I stood, legs shaking. Get out before I forget I'm an officer. His mask finally cracked. You're making a mistake. My family has connections you can't imagine. Military contracts, defense appointments. Cross us, and you'll be discharged within a month. I said get out. Sorry, he left, but not before placing a business card on the table. My lawyer, you have 72 hours before this gets complicated. The next morning, I woke to my phone exploding with messages. Someone had leaked to the base gossip network that I was trying to trap the Callaway heir. By noon, I was in my CO's office. Lieutenant Bennett, we've received some concerning reports about your personal situation. Colonel Hayes wouldn't meet my eyes. While your private life is your own, if it affects unit cohesion or brings dishonor to the uniform, sir, I've done nothing wrong. I'm not saying you have, but perception matters. Take some time. Think about what's best for everyone. Within a week, my world imploded. My apartment lease was suddenly terminated for renovation needs. My bank account was frozen due to suspicious activity. Ethan's lawsuit claiming I'd stolen confidential information during our relationship. Even the daycare near base where I'd planned to enroll my baby blacklisted me. I spent 3 nights sleeping in my car before swallowing my pride and bunking in the medical supply room. The morning sickness was brutal, but I couldn't miss duty. Not when everyone was watching, waiting for me to break. Then came the ultrasound that changed everything. Lieutenant Bennett, the technician's voice was careful. I'm seeing 2 distinct heartbeats. Wait. She moved the wand, frowning. I need to get the doctor. Dr. Martinez arrived within minutes, studying the screen intently. Twins for certain. But there's something here. She pointed to a shadow. Could be nothing. Could be a third sac. Too early to tell. We'll need specialized monitoring. Twins, maybe triplets. The room spun. Given the high-risk nature and your current stress levels, Dr. Martinez chose her words carefully. I strongly recommend you consider all options. Everyone assumed I'd fold. Even my parents, when I finally called them, suggested maybe Ethan's offer wasn't so bad. Honey, you have to think practically. But that night, lying on a cot in the supply room, I felt the faintest flutter in my belly. Barely there, probably imagination, but it was enough. These babies, 2 or 3, were mine. Nobody else's. Just you and me, little ones, I whispered in the dark. We'll figure it out. Hurricane Maria hit Louisiana hard, and our medical unit deployed for disaster relief. 5 months pregnant with a belly I could barely hide under tactical gear, I should have stayed behind. But I needed this. Needed to remember why I became an Army medic. The shelter reeked of mold and desperation. Families huddled on cots, their entire lives reduced to plastic bags. I was triaging injuries when I heard it. A child's terrified scream from outside. My son, someone help, he's trapped. I ran toward the voice, finding a woman pointing at a collapsed carport. Through the twisted metal, I could see a small hand. Get back. I dropped to my knees, assessing the structure. The boy, maybe 6 years old, was pinned but conscious. Hey, buddy, I'm Claire. What's your name? Tommy, he whimpered. Okay, Tommy, I'm going to get you out, but I need you to be super brave. Can you do that? My team worked for an hour, carefully cutting through debris. When we finally pulled Tommy free, miraculously unharmed except for scratches, his mother collapsed in tears. A local reporter captured the moment, me in full gear, visibly pregnant, cradling the boy. The story went viral overnight. Pregnant Army medic saves child in hurricane aftermath. For the first time in months, the comments weren't about scandal or shame. 2 days later, a woman approached me at the aid station. Silver-haired, bearing herself with military precision despite civilian clothes. "Lieutenant Bennett, I'm Helena Cross, Colonel, retired. I run a support center for military women. Saw your story." She studied me with knowing eyes. "Also heard about your other situation. The Calloway boy always was a spoiled brat." "You know Ethan?" "I know his father. Served on a defense committee together until I wouldn't play ball with their contract schemes." She handed me a card. "When you're ready, come see me. The center has resources. Housing, legal aid, childcare. No strings. Why would you help me?" "Because 20 years ago, I was you. Different, powerful family, same playbook." Her smile was sharp. "I learned to fight back. You will too." The center was a revelation. A converted mansion in Virginia. Home to a dozen women with stories like mine. Officers sidelined for refusing advances. Enlisted women fighting custody battles against connected ex-husbands. Veterans rebuilding after betrayal. "First rule," Helena announced during my orientation. "We don't hide. Shame is their weapon, not ours." Living there meant a 2-hour commute to base, but I finally had stability. Real meals, a bed, women who understood when I cried in the bathroom after another anonymous threat, or when my commanding officers suddenly found fault with previously perfect work. Then Marcus Chen entered the picture. "Claire? Claire Bennett?" I turned from the center's computer lab to find a familiar face. Marcus, Ethan's former business school roommate. "I heard what happened. What he did." Marcus looked genuinely distressed. "I work in forensic accounting now. Left that whole toxic scene." We talked for hours. Marcus revealed how Ethan had laughed about handling the soldier girl situation at a party. My hands clenched into fists. "There's more," Marcus said quietly. "The defense contracts Ethan's pushing, they're dirty. Bribes, inflated costs, substandard equipment that could get soldiers killed." He pulled out a USB drive. "I copied files before I left, didn't know what to do with them until now." "Why give them to me?" "Because you're the only person I've met who Ethan actually fears. He mentions you constantly, obsessively, tracks your assignments." Marcus paused. "He knows you're different, incorruptible." I stared at the drive. Evidence that could destroy the Calloways, or make me a target. Helena found me that night, staring at the USB. "Whatever's on there, you don't have to decide now. The best revenge is success. Build your life, raise your babies, become untouchable. Then decide." She was right. I tucked the drive away and focused on what mattered. My growing belly and the increasingly strong kicks that reminded me I wasn't alone. My latest ultrasound confirmed it. Triplets. 3 girls. The doctor called it a miracle they'd all survived this long, given my stress levels. "Guess we're all fighters," I told my belly that night. Just like their mom. At 28 weeks pregnant, I should never have been in Alaska. But the joint military exercise needed experienced combat medics, and I'd fought tooth and nail to prove I could still contribute. Helena had coached me. "Show them pregnancy doesn't make you weak, it makes you stronger." The Arctic training facility was brutal. Sub-zero temperatures, isolation, extreme conditions designed to test limits. I waddled through drills, my modified gear barely containing my massive belly. "Bennett, you sure you should be here?" Captain Morrison watched me struggle with concern. "I'm sure, sir." I adjusted my pack, ignoring how my back screamed. The triplets seemed to protest too, kicking harder than usual. Day 3 of the exercise, everything went wrong. Our unit was practicing wilderness navigation when the blizzard hit. Sudden, violent, visibility dropping to 0 within minutes. I was checking my compass when the first contraction seized me. No, not now. Not here. The pain passed, but I knew what this was. I'd been having Braxton Hicks for weeks, but this felt different. Deeper. Real. "Base, this is Unit 7. Morrison's voice crackled through the radio. "Caught in whiteout conditions, requesting coordinates to nearest shelter." Static. The storm was interfering with communications. Another contraction. I bit my lip to keep from crying out. 8 minutes apart. "Sir," I grabbed Morrison's arm. "We have a problem." His face went white when I explained. How long do we have? With the triplets? No idea, but we need shelter now. We formed a human chain, fighting through the blizzard. I couldn't see 5 feet ahead, could barely breathe through the pain and freezing wind. Every step was agony. Then Sergeant Park shouted, "Structure ahead! Looks like an old research station." The abandoned building was barely standing, but it had walls and a roof. My team worked frantically, starting fires, melting snow for water, trying to raise base on the radio. "Bennett, talk to me." Doc Ramirez, our junior medic, looked terrified. "I've delivered exactly 1 baby, and that was in a hospital." Another contraction nearly dropped me. 5 minutes apart now. "Get the emergency medical kit. We're doing this." "Claire, we don't have a choice." I gasped through the pain. "These babies are coming whether we're ready or not." The next hour blurred together. Radio crackling with static as we finally reached base. A doctor 300 miles away walking Doc through emergency delivery procedures. My team converting the shelter into a makeshift delivery room. "I can see the first baby," Doc announced, sweat pouring down his face despite the cold. She's tiny, Claire." "They all will be. 11 weeks early." I gripped Morrison's hand as another contraction hit. "Just keep going." Baby A arrived screaming. A good sign. 3 pounds of pure fighter. Park wrapped her in his thermal blanket, holding her close to share body heat. Baby B came faster, smaller, requiring immediate stimulation to breathe. I talked Doc through infant resuscitation while fighting my own body's demands. "Base, we need immediate evacuation," Morrison barked into the finally working radio. 3 premature infants, mother hemorrhaging. "Negative on air evacuation," came the reply. "Storm's too severe. Medical team is mobilizing overland. ETA 4 hours. 4 hours. My babies needed incubators, oxygen, everything we didn't have. Baby C refused to come. I could feel her, stuck, wrong position. The bleeding was getting worse." "Claire, what do I do?" Doc's hands shook. Through gritted teeth, I guided him through manual rotation. The pain was beyond description, but then a cry. The smallest yet, barely 2 pounds, but alive. "Look at them," Park said softly, holding all 3 against his chest. "Look what you did." 3 tiny faces, wrinkled and perfect. My daughters. Our miracle. The rescue team found us 6 hours later. By then, my unit had created an entire NICU from nothing. IV drips from melted snow, oxygen supplementation from portable canisters, even tiny feeding tubes fashioned from medical supplies. "In 30 years of Arctic rescue," the lead physician said later, "I've never seen anything like this. You all saved 4 lives today." The story exploded across military channels. "Combat medic delivers triplets in Arctic storm." Photos of my team cradling the babies, of our improvised shelter hospital, of me directing my own emergency delivery. Ethan couldn't touch me now. I wasn't just a scandal anymore. I was a symbol of strength, of survival, of what military women could endure. Holding my daughters in the actual NICU later, each finally stable, I whispered, "Welcome to the world, fighters. You're already legends." 2 years passed in a blur of 3 a.m. feedings, physical therapy for my smallest daughter, and clawing my way back to active duty. The triplets, Sophia, Elena, and tiny Maddie, thrived despite their dramatic entrance. The military community that had once shunned me now rallied around us. My Arctic unit became honorary uncles, showing up for birthdays and babysitting during deployments. I threw myself into work with new purpose. The Advanced Strategic Defense Program accepted my application, partly due to my field experience, partly because my story had become impossible to ignore. I studied at night while the girls slept, earning certifications in military logistics and healthcare management. "Mommy works hard so you can dream big," I'd whisper during late-night study sessions. One baby usually sprawled across my textbooks. By age 5, their personalities emerged distinct and powerful. Sophia commanded any room she entered, organizing the daycare children like a tiny general. Elena solved puzzles meant for kids twice her age, already doing basic algebra. Maddie, my smallest, built elaborate contraptions from medical supplies I brought home, her hands steady as a surgeon's despite her premature birth. "Your daughters are remarkable," their teacher told me during conferences. especially considering she didn't finish, but I knew. Everyone knew their story. The pregnancy that almost ended my career. The father who'd never acknowledged them. The birth that made headlines. I was reviewing classified defense contracts in my Pentagon office when my assistant knocked. "Colonel Bennett? There's someone here claiming to be family." Colonel. The promotion had come through just months ago, making me the youngest in my division. I'd cried in the bathroom after the ceremony, wishing my girls could understand what we'd overcome. "I don't have any family visiting today." Ethan walked in. 5 years had aged him badly. The easy confidence was gone, replaced by something harder, desperate. He looked at my office walls, commendations, photos of the girls at various military events, the infamous Arctic Rescue article framed prominently. "Don't." I stood, hand moving instinctively to my phone. "Security is one button away." "I'm not here to cause trouble." He raised his hands. I needed to see you, to explain." "You had your chance to explain 5 years ago, with a $2 million bribe." He flinched. "The board pressured me. My father—" "Stop." My voice could have frozen hell. "You have 30 seconds before I call security." "I have children. 3 daughters." He pulled out his phone, showing me a photo. "With my wife, the woman the board approved, and every day I look at them and wonder." His voice cracked. "I know I have 3 others. The ones you fought for. The ones born in that storm. They're not yours." The words came out ice cold. "You signed away any claim when you tried to buy my silence. They have no father." "The files, Claire. I know Marcus gave you files. The FBI's investigating our defense contracts. If you have evidence..." There it was. The real reason for his visit. "Get out." I pressed the security button. "And if you ever come near my daughters, I'll destroy you, not with stolen files or scandals, with the truth. How you abandoned them, how you threatened their mother, how 3 little girls became heroes at birth while their biological donor cowered behind daddy's money." Security arrived in seconds. As they escorted him out, Ethan turned back. "They look like you. I saw them at the commissary last week. Beautiful." "You were watching my children?" "I shop there now. My wife likes military discounts." His smile was bitter. Ironic, right? That night, I held my girls closer, told them extra stories about brave princesses who didn't need princes. But Maddie, always too perceptive, asked, "Mommy, why was that man in your office sad?" "Some people make bad choices, baby, and they have to live with them." The USB drive still sat in my safe. Helena had been right. Success was the best revenge. But now, knowing Ethan was circling, watching my children— "Time to decide," I told my reflection. The woman staring back wasn't the scared lieutenant from 5 years ago. She was a colonel, a mother, a survivor. The files could wait. First, I needed to ensure my girls' safety. Tomorrow, I'd speak with legal about restraining orders. Then maybe it would be time to let the FBI know what I'd been holding. Ethan wanted to play games? He'd forgotten. I'd learned from the best. And I had 3 reasons to win. The Pentagon assignment changed everything. My new role put me at the intersection of military strategy and healthcare policy, exactly where Ethan's family had the most influence. Defense contracts worth billions flowed through committees where the Callaway name carried weight. "Colonel Bennett, you'll be leading the new Medical Readiness Task Force," General Morrison announced. The same Morrison who'd held my hand through Arctic labor. "Your unique perspective on field medicine under extreme conditions makes you ideal." My first major briefing included representatives from defense contractors. I recognized the Callaway Industries logo immediately, though Ethan wasn't present. His father's people were. I presented our findings on substandard medical equipment in combat zones, soldiers dying from preventable infections because suppliers cut corners. The Callaway representative shifted uncomfortably as I detailed specific failures. After the meeting, Helena appeared in my office. "Interesting presentation. 3 of those failed suppliers have Callaway connections." "I know." "The evidence Marcus gave you. It's time, Claire, but not through official channels. Not yet." She smiled like a chess master. I'm hosting a defense industry gala next month. Key congressional members, joint chiefs, investigative journalists. Very exclusive. And Ethan will be there. His father's forcing him to smooth over contract concerns. Helena's eyes gleamed. Imagine his face when you walk in. The woman he tried to bury, now a colonel. The mother of children he pretended didn't exist. This isn't about revenge. No, it's about justice. Those substandard supplies? They're killing soldiers. Your daughters could lose their mother to corporate greed. She stood. Think about it. That evening, I watched my girls at swim practice. They moved through water like they were born to it, synchronized, powerful, unafraid. Other parents whispered, pointed. Everyone knew our story. Colonel Bennett? A woman approached. I'm Sarah Walsh, Washington Post. I've been investigating defense contract fraud for 2 years. Your briefing today? It confirmed patterns I've been tracking. I can't comment on. I know about Marcus Chen, about the files. She lowered her voice. I also know Ethan Calloway has been making inquiries about your daughter's school, their activities. Security footage shows him at multiple locations. My blood chilled. He's stalking them, documenting them. His lawyers are building a case. She handed me a folder. Custody petition, draft version, claims you're an unfit mother, endangering them with military service. The ground tilted. I gripped the bleacher rail, watching my girls laugh in the pool. He can't. He signed away rights. Money rewrites history. They're claiming coercion, that you hid the pregnancy until it was too late. Sarah studied me. But if certain evidence about contract fraud became public first? Helena was right. It was time. The gala preparation consumed weeks. I had my dress uniform tailored, practiced my talking points, steeled myself for confrontation. My girls knew something was happening. Mommy, you look nervous, Elena observed, too smart for 7. Like before your big presentations. Sometimes we have to do hard things, baby, to protect what matters. The night arrived. The Washington Hilton glittered with power players, military brass mingling with defense executives. I entered with Helena, my medals catching light, standing straighter than ever. Ethan stood near the bar, older, trying to charm a senator. He saw me and froze. I didn't approach. Didn't need to. My presence was enough. The ghost he'd tried to bury, now radiating authority. Ladies and gentlemen, Helena took the microphone. Tonight's keynote speaker is someone who embodies military excellence. Colonel Claire Bennett, whose work in combat medicine has saved countless lives. I walked to the podium, feeling Ethan's stare. The room held defense contractors, policymakers, journalists, everyone who mattered. Thank you. Tonight, I want to discuss a different kind of combat. The fight against those who profit from our soldiers' blood through substandard equipment and corrupted contracts. I began presenting facts, figures, evidence. Without naming Callaway Industries directly, I laid out a pattern of fraud so clear that murmurs rippled through the crowd. Journalists typed frantically. Our soldiers deserve equipment that works, medical supplies that save lives, not corporate profits built on their sacrifices. The applause was thunderous, but I wasn't done. During the reception, I found myself face to face with Ethan's father, William Callaway, silver-haired and sharp-eyed. Impressive presentation, Colonel, though some might call it inflammatory. Some might call dead soldiers unacceptable. His smile thinned. You have daughters, I hear. Challenging, raising them alone. They have everything they need. For now. He leaned closer. Be careful, Colonel. Wars aren't always fought on battlefields. The threat was clear, but so was my resolve. The custody papers arrived 2 weeks after the gala. Ethan was claiming parental rights, citing my dangerous lifestyle and military obligations as grounds for shared custody. The hypocrisy burned. The man who demanded I terminate now wanted my children. He's trying to leverage you, Helena explained in her office. Drop the contract investigation and he'll drop the custody suit. Over my dead body. I assembled my own team. Military lawyers who'd seen this playbook before. Sarah Walsh, who'd been documenting Ethan's stalking. My Arctic unit, ready to testify about the birth. And Marcus, finally ready to go public with what he knew. But something nagged at me. Ethan's behavior had shifted from cold calculation to desperate moves. During a legal strategy session, Marcus mentioned something odd. Ethan's not really running things anymore. His father brought in a new CFO last year, James Crawford. Former CIA, handles sensitive negotiations. Crawford. The name was vaguely familiar. That night, sorting through old photos, I found it. A military intelligence briefing from 3 years ago. Crawford suspected of selling classified medical research to foreign buyers. Never proven. Oh my God. The pieces clicked. The substandard equipment wasn't just about money, it was about information. Medical data from failed supplies, troop health patterns, vulnerabilities. I called Helena immediately. The defense contracts. They're not just fraud, they're espionage. Within 48 hours, I was in a secure FBI facility, laying out connections. The USB drive's contents, cross-referenced with Crawford's history, painted a treasonous picture. Callaway Industries was a front for something darker. We'll need concrete proof, Agent Martinez said. Something current. I might have a way, but I'll need protection for my daughters first. They agreed. My girls were moved to a secure facility, told it was a special vacation. I hated lying to them, but their safety came first. The plan was dangerous, but simple. The next Callaway board meeting was in 3 days. If I could get Ethan alone, make him think I was ready to deal. Claire, this is insane, Helena protested. You're not a spy. No, I'm a mother, and they threatened my children. I met Ethan at a private club in Georgetown. He looked exhausted, almost relieved to see me. You came. You didn't give me choices. I sat carefully, the wire taped under my blazer. Joint custody. Really? It wasn't my idea. He signaled for drinks. My father, Crawford, they think it's leverage. I told them it wouldn't work. Then why go along? Because I don't have a choice either. His laugh was bitter. You think I run anything? I'm a figurehead. Crawford's the real power now. So stand up to them. With what? They have everything documented. Every mistake, every weakness. He met my eyes. Including those photos of our daughters I took. I'm sorry about that. They're beautiful, Claire. Smart like you. Don't. But something in his voice made me pause. Ethan, what's really going on? The contracts you're investigating. It's bigger than fraud. Crawford's selling military medical data. Troop deployments based on health assessments. Which units have vaccine shortages, chronic conditions. He downed his whiskey. Your presentation spooked them. That's why the custody threat. Then help me stop them. I can't. They have... He stopped. Did you know one of your daughters, the middle one, she solved a Rubik's Cube at the mall? 5 years old, faster than most adults. How do you... Never mind. I leaned forward. Ethan, we can protect you. FBI's already investigating. His face went white. You're wearing a wire. Help us, and you get immunity. Don't, and you go down with them. For a long moment, he was silent. Then, board meetings Thursday. Crawford will present the new medical contract. Biological data from deployed units. I'll get you in. Why? Because I'm already a ghost. He stood. And maybe helping you is the one decent thing I can do. For them. Even if they never know. Thursday arrived like a storm. I entered Callaway Industries with fake credentials Ethan provided, FBI backup stationed outside. The boardroom was all marble and menace. Crawford recognized me immediately. Colonel Bennett, how unexpected. Not really, I smiled. You've been expecting me since the gala. The presentation began, Crawford outlining new medical partnerships that were clearly intelligence operations. I recorded everything, waiting for the moment. Then Ethan stood. I motioned to table this proposal pending ethics review. Sit down, boy, William Callaway snarled. No. Ethan's voice steadied. I'm done with all of it. The room erupted. FBI agents flooded in. Crawford tried to run, but didn't make it far. As they led him away, he passed my chair. Your daughters. Pretty things. Shame if. Finish that threat. I stood, every inch a soldier. Give me a reason. He wisely stayed silent. The headlines screamed for weeks. Callaway Industries exposed in defense espionage scandal. FBI arrests 17 in military contract fraud. Ethan testified for 3 days straight, delivering evidence that sent Crawford and half the board to federal prison. William Callaway escaped prosecution, barely, but the company imploded. Stock worthless, contracts canceled, reputation destroyed. Helena called it poetic justice. "You did it," she said over champagne in her office. "You brought down an empire." "We did it. All of us." The custody threat evaporated with the criminal charges. Ethan, granted immunity for his cooperation, disappeared into witness protection. But not before one final meeting. "I know I have no right to ask," he said in the secure facility. "But someday, when they're older, will you tell them I tried to make it right? I thought of my girls, now 7, brave and brilliant. I'll tell them the truth, that biology doesn't make a father, that the people who show up, who fight for them, who love them, that's real family." He nodded, understanding. "They're lucky to have you." "No, I'm lucky to have them." 6 months later, I stood in the Pentagon's main ceremony hall, my daughters in matching dresses, fidgeting but proud. The chief of staff cleared his throat. "For exceptional service in exposing corruption and protecting military readiness, promoted to Brigadier General Claire Bennett." My girls cheered loudest as the star was pinned to my shoulder. Youngest general in medical corps history. The same institution that had nearly discharged me for pregnancy now recognized what we'd overcome. The celebration was still ongoing when I finally read the letter. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. "Claire, I know I have no right to write, but I wanted you to know I've started over. New name, new life, teaching at a community clinic, finally doing something worthwhile. I see our daughters in every child I help. Their strength, their potential. You gave them that. You gave them everything I couldn't." The photo enclosed is from their birth announcement in the military paper. "I've carried it for 7 years, 3 miracles in a storm, like their mother. I won't contact you again, but thank you for showing me who I could have been, for raising them to be better than I ever was. Forever grateful, EPS." There's more to the Crawford story. Be careful. Some shadows run deeper than others. I tucked the letter away. That chapter was closed, but his warning echoed. Some shadows run deeper. "Mommy!" Sophia tugged my hand. "Can we see your new office?" "Of course, sweetheart." We walked through Pentagon halls, my daughters chattering about school projects and swim meets. Normal life, hard one. In my new office, they immediately began exploring. Maddie fascinated by the secure phone system, Elena calculating square footage, Sophia organizing my desk. "Girls, I need to tell you something." I gathered them close. "You know how Mommy sometimes has to make hard choices to protect people?" They nodded solemnly. "Well, we might have to be extra careful for a while. There are some people who aren't happy about Mommy's work." "Like the bad man from your office?" Maddie asked. "The sad one?" "No, baby. He's trying to be better. These are different people." "We'll protect you, Mommy," Sophia declared. "We're a team." "The best team," Elena added. "Unbeatable," Maddie finished. Looking at them, my miracles, my fighters, my reasons for everything, I knew we'd face whatever came next. The Crawford warning was concerning, but we'd weathered worse storms. Sarah Walsh called that evening. "Claire, I'm tracking something. International connections to Crawford's network. This isn't over." "I know, but we'll be ready." "How can you be so sure?" I smiled, watching my girls build a fort in the living room, already strategizing defenses. "Because I've got the best unit imaginable, and we don't know how to quit." The future stretched ahead, uncertain, challenging, probably dangerous, but also full of possibility. My daughters would grow up strong, brilliant, unafraid. They'd know their worth had nothing to do with their father's name or money. They were Bennetts, born in storms, raised by warriors, destined for greatness. And that was more than enough. "Mommy, come see," they called from their fort. "We made a command center." I joined them, General Stars forgotten. Just a mother with her 3 incredible daughters. Tomorrow would bring new battles. Tonight, we were simply perfectly home. The text ended with a promise. Whatever shadows lurked, whatever threats emerged, we'd face them as we always had, together.